I'd like to go on to Rajeeva now. Rajeeva, the CSE, the Colombo Stock Market, and also especially the capital markets have seen a good year so far. So congratulations on that. But any market is always with the ups and downs, and I'm quite sure that especially when a market is going through a certain downturn, which we've seen over the last few years at certain moments, certain occasions, that I believe is where you might be dealing with lots of stakeholders, be it the government, be it corporate leaders who's worried about the direction of the market, how they are being affected, and so on. Especially during tough times, that's what they say differentiates between good leadership and great leadership, because great leaders go on to handle tough times in a really good, in a really great manner. What's your mantra for dealing with stakeholders as a leader, especially during the tough times where uncertainty might be ruling?
So thank you, Tarun, and thank you for the good panel that has been set up by BMT today. Uh, if I if I relate from my own experience in the last probably 5 years, starting from about 2019, we had multiple crises in the country, as you know. We had the Easter bombing, followed by the pandemic, and soon after we had a economic crisis. So in my 30-year experience, I think that probably would have been the worst period for a lot of people, not only for the capital market. And that threw multiple challenges for us. So we had market-related issues, we had technology issues, we had regulatory issues, we had organizational issues, we had people issues, all coming and hitting us one after the other. So let me relate a few experiences that I came across in which I can put forward as leadership challenges. First and foremost, I think in dealing with the crisis, we saw upsides and downsides. During the lockdown, we found that people couldn't get to their offices, and we had to halt the market, and that created a lot of pressure on leadership as to how you would deal with it. How can you deal with on one hand pressure from the certain parties to keep markets open, and from another segment saying don't open, we cannot go to our workplaces, we cannot access markets. So on one hand, you have to keep markets running as well. So that was the first challenge I got during that period in dealing with multiple stakeholders and trying to balance the interests of all parties concerned. And then to add to that, though, you have technology issues. We didn't have the wherewithal to enable remote access. So some of the learnings, on one hand, we developed a mobile app which facilitated people to digitally onboard themselves, get access to trading, and continue trading. What we planned to do in 2 years, we probably enabled in about 1.5 months. And that required a lot of innovative thinking. We saw a nice video clip paid by Dinesh, and I'm sure Angelo would have had very near experiences of that nature. It was not as exciting as that, but we really had to think out of the box to come up with a solution so that people could still participate in market activity. We can enable the market, at the same time facilitate a process where we keep markets running. So I think their leadership played a role in, these are all people driven, and how we pushed the teams to come up with solutions internally generated. We didn't have the comfort to go out and look for providers, look for solutions. So we built in-house, and it is the same teams that enable this entire process where we could keep markets running. There again, we had people working from home. We were not prepared for it. We had to set up networks, we had to set up processes so that we could connect with each other and still work from home. And I think the success of that is how the teams got together. I think some of these facts come out. Teamwork, how you harness teams, then the agility, how people are agile, how people react, how people adapt. And I think as a leader, we had to give leadership to motivate people. And I think I quite agree with Professor Ajanta in about being the human aspect of it, how human you are. So the empathy, the compassion, all of it comes in because people are facing multiple crises. So some of the things that we need in our organization to facilitate this innovation is to give comfort. I remember we took a decision. There is a lot of companies had salary cuts, and we said we are not going to cut salaries. We are going to keep paying the same compensation. In fact, we enabled certain concessions. I remember even the worst of periods, we were not making profits, we were making losses, but we still gave increments, we gave additional allowances to incentivize people. So we were very empathetic towards the people, the staff members as well, and I think that resulted in greater productivity, and we could overcome. So in terms of decisions, I think when you look at leadership, decision making, the decisiveness. Secondly, it's about communications, the clarity in communications, both internal communications and external communications. Internally, there are a lot of uncertainty, there is fear, there is lack of clarity. So I think internally I had to communicate with the staff to give them, to motivate them so that they perform. Then external stakeholders, you have, as you rightly said, the government on one side, investors, you have listed companies, you have other market intermediaries, you have stockbrokers with different competing interests. So you need to again start communicating, give that clarity. How do you deal with uncertainty? And there are very little assurances you can give because you never knew what the next day would be like. So I think that communication, the clarity in communication was important, and the agility, the ability to move very fast. So I think in leadership, you have a combination of all those factors, and all of it will come to play when you have a crisis. And probably the best in you also come out because you're pushed to the wall in making very fast decisions. On one hand, you need to make the right decisions. You have financial constraints hitting you. You need to convince people to go along with you with maybe just a promise saying, in 6 months' time we'll be better off. So I think as a leader, you need to develop those skills to motivate people, to get people to start running with you. So these are some of the things that I personally faced in the last 5 years, which is quite challenging. But you have challenges in good times too. So when things start rolling, you have different challenges. Your technology keeps running out, then you have to suddenly upscale. How do you do that so fast? And then people start getting very ambitious and saying, why not increase volumes? Why not do that? Why not introduce new products? So your ability to scale up also has to be done. Then how do you upskill people? And I think it was mentioned about the brain drain. You really can't get the people that you want. And there it throws a different challenge when all the ingredients are in place. When you have the money, when you have the volumes, then how do you give better services to your stakeholders? How do you improve and how do you give new products? And you don't have the people, you don't have the skills to do that. You have to build skills. So it's not only in bad times, but in good times too, you have other challenges that coming in. Of course, those are probably good challenges to have. So these are some of the insights I could share. Yeah.
Thank you, Rajeeva. And I think the key takeaway from your insights was also the fact that sometimes when you're a leader, you also have to make the miracles happen. As you said, what was planned for 2 years, you have to make it happen in 1.5 months. And probably something like that sort of a miracle, even Angelo will be able to relate to as the man behind the MCG miracle in 2010.